Hello and welcome. You're watching NDTV 24/7. I'm Rishika Barua. A heat wave is sweeping through vast parts of the country at the moment, and this is only intensified today with the mercury crossing 45 degrees in several places. New records are being broken every single day as far as the heat is concerned. Delhi has recorded its second hottest April in 72 years with an average monthly temperature of 40.2 degrees Celsius. Take a look at some of the hottest cities. Prayagraj, 46.8 degrees, 7 degrees above normal. Sri Ganganagar, 46.4 degrees. This is 6 degrees above normal. Akola sizzling at 45.8, 4 degrees above normal. Gurugram at 45.66 degrees above normal. Varadha, 3 degrees above normal. Khajuraho at 45.3. Churu at 45.2. Gwalior as well. Narnaul at 45. Bikaner at 43.8. And Delhi at 43.55 degrees above normal, as is Patiala at 43.4, which is 6 degrees above normal. Now, here's why the heat wave this time is breaking all records. Prayagraj hits 47 degrees. Gurgaon, like I pointed out, is at 45.6 degrees yesterday. Delhi is headed for the hottest April so far. For a long stretch, this heat wave has continued. It's over 6 weeks and counting now. In the last 6 weeks in New Delhi, the average temperature has been more than 4 degrees above normal for this time of the year. Well, the intense heat wave scorched most of the north, central and western India. What's worse is that there is no respite expected for the next 2 weeks.
Temperatures are over 43 degrees in many parts of the country, and the big question being, is there any respite in sight? Sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but there's no respite over the next 2 weeks. According to the Met Office, as far as heatwave conditions are concerned, they're likely to prevail in the weeks ahead from Punjab to Madhya Pradesh, including Delhi. There's going to be no significant change as far as the maximum temperature is concerned in the north as well as central parts of the country, which is right now in the range of 43 to about 46 degrees. So what's led to these oppressive temperatures is the anticyclonic conditions that are prevailing, along with lack of rain. In fact, when we take into account from the 1st of March till now, there's been a massive rain deficit, about 87% in northwest India and a 70% deficit in central parts of the country. It's only the east where it's been raining, and more is expected in the days and weeks ahead. When we look at the weather forecast from the 5th of May, heatwave conditions will be felt in the northern and central parts of the country, including parts of Andhra Pradesh and Odisha as well.
And amid the heat wave, India's peak power demand has touched an all-time high. The power shortage has risen to 31% in the last 2 days. In an emergency move, the centre today cancelled 42 passenger trains to divert them so they could carry coal supplies to power plants. The Delhi government has raised an SOS saying there is only 1 day of coal supply left. And the government's also said they'd be forced to black out hospitals and even the Delhi metro.
Across large parts of India, a confluence of multiple crises, from climate change and heat waves to power cuts and protests. In Uttar Pradesh, Prayagraj crossed 47 degrees, 6 degrees above normal. Farmers protesting long power cuts in Punjab, they say 14-hour power cuts in some places. In Amritsar, farmers gherawed the residence of the power minister.
ਪੰਜਾਬ ਤੇ ਦੇਸ਼ ਪੱਧਰੀ ਸੰਕਟ ਆ। ਪੰਜਾਬ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਏਡਾ ਵੱਡਾ ਕ੍ਰਾਈਸਿਸ ਅਸੀਂ ਇਸ ਤੋਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਕਦੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਦੇਖਿਆ ਵੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਅਰਬਨ ਸਪਲਾਈ ਜਿਹਨੂੰ ਘਰੇਲੂ ਘਰਾਂ ਦੇ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ, ਜਿੱਥੇ 14 ਘੰਟੇ ਕੱਟ ਲੱਗੇ ਹੋਣ, ਉਹਦੇ ਕਾਰਨ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਸਾਡੀਆਂ ਮੌਜੂਦਾ ਸਮੇਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇਸ ਵੇਲੇ ਫਸਲਾਂ ਵਾ, ਚਾਹੇ ਸਬਜ਼ੀਆਂ ਵਾ, ਗੰਨਾ ਵਾ, ਮੱਕੀ ਆ, ਉਹ ਹਰਾ ਚਾਰਾ ਸੜ ਗਿਆ।
ਪਿਛਲੇ ਸਾਲ ਦੇ ਮੁਕਾਬਲੇ ਬਿਜਲੀ ਦੀ ਮੰਗ ਸੂਬੇ ਵਿੱਚ 40% ਵਧੀ ਹੈ। ਇਸ ਸਥਿਤੀ ਨੂੰ ਠੀਕ ਕਰਨ ਲਈ ਇੱਕ ਰਾਹਤ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਵਾਸੀਆਂ ਦੇ ਲਈ ਇਹ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਰੋਪੜ ਥਰਮਲ ਪਲਾਂਟ ਨੂੰ ਅਸੀਂ ਸਖਤ ਮਿਹਨਤ ਦੇ ਬਾਅਦ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਕਰ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਹੈ ਅਤੇ ਤਲਵੰਡੀ ਪਲਾਂਟ ਕੱਲ ਸਵੇਰ ਤੱਕ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਹੋ ਜਾਏਗਾ।
In Bihar, the ruling BJP alliance admits to a massive shortfall in electricity.
कुछ प्रॉब्लम है, ऑल ओवर दी कंट्री प्रॉब्लम है, बिहार में भी कुछ प्रॉब्लम है, लेकिन उसको हम लोग कर रहे हैं लगभग 1000 मेगावाट की।
In Delhi, an SOS by the state government saying there is only a day's coal supply left. The capital has thermal power plants. The last one was shut down because of air pollution.
देखिए, पूरे देश के अंदर कोयले की बहुत भयंकर कमी है और उसका सबसे बड़ा कारण है कि जो रेलवे के रैक हैं, जो ट्रेन्स होती हैं, वो अवेलेबिलिटी कम है, कोई बैकअप नहीं है, बिजली को स्टोर करके नहीं रखा जाता, बिजली डेली बनती है। आज काफ़ी सारे प्लांट्स के ऊपर एक दिन से भी कम का कोयला बचा है, तो ये तो जो बनाने वाले हैं केंद्र सरकार को ही देखना है इसमें तो।
However, the central-run NTPC, which supplies power to the National Capital Region, reacted, saying all 6 units of Dadri and 5 units of Unchahar are running at full capacity and receiving regular coal supplies. But today, in an emergency move, the centre cancelled 42 passenger trains to make way for coal ferrying trains. Across the country, as the heat wave is worsening, so is the power crisis because of insufficient coal supplies to power plants. The power shortage has risen to 31% in the last 2 days. 1/3 of the major thermal power plants across the country are struggling with just 10% of coal stock. India's power demand hit a record 204.6 gigawatts, the old record being broken in just 48 hours.
The tragic irony is burning more coal may solve immediate power crisis, but will worsen climate crisis, which experts say creates such long and intense heat waves. The heat wave for much of India's population is likely to last for next few days, if not for weeks.
The prevailing heat wave has worsened the situation. In the national capital, the fire servicemen are fighting to douse fire at one of the biggest landfills for the 4th straight day. Though the fire has been brought under control for now, with the mercury set to rise in the coming days, the authorities can expect many more such infernos this summer. An NDTV Bureau report.
Now in Sri Lanka, the massive power blackouts and an all-out economic crisis has forced the Rajapaksa government to call a national emergency. A prominent lawmaker said today that the Sri Lankan president has agreed to replace his older brother as prime minister in a proposed interim government to solve the current political impasse that's been caused by the country's worst economic crisis in decades. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa has agreed that a national council will be appointed to name the new PM and cabinet. Well, it's been a year since a devastating second wave of COVID that left behind a trail of death and destruction that many of us will never forget. A family on the outskirts of Lucknow saw 8 deaths in 24 days, a cremation every 3rd day. This was the story of a lot of families last year, this time.
The stark, devastating emptiness inside this once full of life village home on the outskirts of Lucknow, where 8 people from a joint family died in 24 days, or a death every 3 days, during the killer second wave of the COVID pandemic. Among the members of the Yadav family who died, 2 sisters, their 4 brothers, their mother and paternal aunt. Some of them gasping for oxygen at a private hospital, some at home. Seema Singh Yadav, whose 45-year-old husband Nirankar Singh, a farmer, died in hospital, says getting through the year has been as traumatic as the deaths. A year on, her biggest concern, educating her 19 and 21-year-old sons. Her elder son is a student of fashion design in Hyderabad. The younger one has appeared for his class 12 exams and helps at the farm.
वो बहुत चिल्ला रहे थे कि हमको ऑक्सीजन बढ़ाइए, हमसे बार बार कह रहे थे कि डॉक्टर के पास जाइए और भैया को भी बुलाइए कि ऑक्सीजन का लेवल और बढ़ाइए। लेकिन सर हम बोल रहे थे कि डॉक्टर से कि सर बढ़ा दीजिए, तो उन्होंने बोले कि एक बार तो बढ़ा दिया, फिर वो हमसे क्या बोले कि जाओ जल्दी, हम सांस बिल्कुल नहीं ले पा रहे हैं। तो हमने कहा सर आइए, ये जो है ऑक्सीजन और बढ़ा रही है। तो उन्होंने कहा अभी ये भी मिले, ये भी नहीं मिलेगी। तो हमसे बोले कि क्या डॉक्टर कह रहे हैं। हमने कहा कि वो तुमको नहीं कह रहे, दूसरे को बोल रहे हैं। फिर इसके बाद वो ऑक्सीजन के लिए सोच लो तड़प तड़प के हमारे सामने उनकी जान निकल गई। हम लोगों के लिए तो एक एक दिन काटना बहुत मुश्किल हो गई। हम लोग यही है कि बच्चों के सारे सोच लो जी रहे हैं। बड़ा वाला तो मेरा भैया हैदराबाद में है। अच्छा। वो बोल रहा था कि हम नहीं जाएंगे, मम्मी तुमको कहाँ से पढ़ाओगी। तो हमने सोचा कि भैया हम लोग के साथ जो होना तो हो गया, अपने आने वाली जिंदगी मत बर्बाद करो।
Kusma Devi's husband, Vijay Kumar Singh, was also a farmer and the eldest sibling. Mr. Singh died after a 10-day struggle in a private hospital. Kusma is now in charge of the home and says the government did give compensation, but the future has her worried.
भगवान करे किसी को ये दिन ना आए जो हम लोगों के साथ हुआ है। भले गरीबी रहे, कम खाए, एक टाइम खाए, लेकिन ये दुख न झेलना पड़े जो हम लोग सहे हैं। कभी ऐसा नहीं देखा था। आगे भी हमको लगता है कि कैसे हम लोग घर संभालेंगे, बच्चों को संभालेंगे, कैसे पढ़ा पाएंगे। दो औरतें हैं बस, कैसे इनका खर्चा बच्चों को संभालेंगे, कैसे इनकी शादी बारात करेंगे।
The silence in this home has been very difficult to reconcile with for the family who lost so many of their near and dear ones. Last year was a terrible time for all of us, and it's been difficult to cope, not only for this family, but for everyone who suffered in the devastating second wave of the COVID pandemic. One only hopes that we do not get to see such times ever again. With camera person Rajesh Gupta, this is Alok Pandey, Hindi TV.
A curfew has been imposed in Punjab's Patiala till Saturday morning now. There is tension after police fired in the air while trying to avert a clash between members of the Shiv Sena that were led by Harish Singla, who'd called for a march against a pro-Khalistani outfit, Sikh activists and Nihangs. He called for this outside the Kali Mata temple in the city. There were clashes between a Sikh group and the Sena. The Shiv Sena's Punjab unit has also expelled Singla, who gave a call for this protest march. Like I said, he's also been arrested.
Police firing in the air in Patiala to break up a clash. A group that calls itself Shiv Sena and members of Sikh outfits clashed by throwing stones at each other and brandishing swords, prompting police to fire in the air to bring the situation near the local Kali Devi Mandir under control.
अभी हम बयान लिख रहे हैं क्योंकि जो इंजर्ड थे उनका ट्रीटमेंट चल रहा था। ट्रीटमेंट के बाद अभी बयान लिखने हैं, सो कार्रवाई जल्दी करिए।
The trouble began when members of Sikh outfits came out in large numbers to oppose the Khalistan Murdabad march organized by the Shiv Sena, led by Harish Singla, the working president of Punjab Shiv Sena. Neither side had permission to hold the march. Chief Minister Mann tweeted that strict actions will be taken and after a meeting with the police chief imposed curfew in the city till 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. There was heavy police force to disperse the gathering. The new Aam Aadmi Party government accused the BJP and the Congress.
ये सारा का सारा नाटक रचा गया है। इसमें हमारे पुलिस के कोई जवान जो हैं वो घायल भी हुए हैं, मगर पंजाब के अंदर इस तरीके की कोई भी चीज़ बर्दाश्त नहीं की जाएगी और जिन भी लोगों ने ये काम किया है उनको बहुत जल्द जो है जेल के अंदर भेजा जाएगा।
Congress, Akali Dal and BJP accusing the government for failing to maintain law and order. Punjab has seen multiple protests in the recent years by farmers and some by Sikh protesters over sensitive issue of sacrilege. But this is the first major law and order challenge for the Aam Aadmi Party government, where groups from two communities came face to face with each other, the government must deal this with iron hand for ensuring peace in the state. With Muhammad Ghazali, Osama Shab for NDTV.
7 people have been arrested by the police in Uttar Pradesh's temple town of Ayodhya for attempting to disturb the peace and tranquility of the city by throwing objectionable posters and objects at several mosques in the town. The police say that they are searching for 4 more people and that the incident could have had major repercussions so close to the festival of Eid.
An incident-free Friday namaz in temple town Ayodhya amid tight security days before the Eid festival, but just in the nick of time. After the UP police arrested these 7 men for throwing objectionable posters, objects and torn pages of religious texts outside 3 mosques and a shrine in the town on Wednesday night, an attempt to incite a riot. The name of the main accused is Mahesh Kumar Mishra and all of the accused are from Ayodhya. This CCTV footage from outside a over 100-year-old mosque shows a man throwing what appear to be torn pages outside the mosque. The man is wearing a skull cap, but police have said all arrested men are Hindus. The Ayodhya police say 3 accused have a prior criminal record. The main accused Mishra has 4 cases against him, including promoting enmity between groups and criminal intimidation. The provocation for the incident was the recent communal clash in Delhi's Jahangirpuri, according to the UP police.
जो आपत्तिजनक चीजें इन्होंने फेंकी थी उसमें जरूर इस बात का जिक्र किया था, क्योंकि वो घटना त्योहार पे हुई थी, तो उसी एक तरह से उद्देश्य उससे कनेक्ट करते हुए इनका उद्देश्य था कि ये त्योहार भी जो है हम लोग इसमें प्रभावित करें और यहाँ पे कानून व्यवस्था जो है.
It is not clear if these arrested men have any political affiliation. Police sources say the main accused runs a fringe outfit and all others are members, but no link has been found to any major organization so far. With Pramod Srivastav, this is Alok Pandey, NDTV.
Well, Jignesh Mevani has gotten bail in the assault case against him. The Barpeta court, while pronouncing its verdict on Mevani's bail plea, has urged the Guwahati High Court to initiate a PIL on the police excesses in the matter. The court has also urged the High Court to ask the Assam police to install CCTVs in vehicles. Let's go right across to Ratnadeep. Ratnadeep, very interesting what the court has said.
Yes, in fact, today, while granting bail to Jignesh Mevani in the case which was lodged against him in Barpeta Road Police Station, the Session Judge Court of Barpeta made some very strong observations on Assam police, in fact, urging the Guwahati High Court to see if there is a possibility of taking a suo motu PIL on the recent police excesses in the state. Remember, there have been a lot of allegations of fake encounters against Assam police in recent times, while police had claimed that most of those cases where police had to shoot people when the accused person was trying to flee. In fact, the court had also asked that while police takes an accused in its vehicle, there should be CCTV cameras in the vehicle and they should wear body cameras. And this is something that the court, the Barpeta Session Judge, Justice Aparesh Chakravarti, had urged the High Court to order the Assam police. The court also, took strong exception of the fact that in the FIR, what has been stated in the FIR and what the accused, what the complainant disposed in front of the magistrate were 2 different versions. So therefore, the court indicated that the second FIR, which was filed against Jignesh Mevani, was fake. In fact, the court also said that it seems that there is a in fact, the court actually said that if this case has to be accepted as true, then then the legal jurisprudence has to be actually rewritten in the country. So therefore, very strong observations by the court.
All right, strong observations there by the court. Remains to be seen if the Guwahati High Court actually does take cognizance of some of that. Thanks, Ratnadeep, for joining us. Meanwhile, Jignesh Mevani spoke exclusively to NDTV earlier. Listen into what he said.
Jignesh, you're finally a free man after 9 days of custody. What is your first reaction?
I'm free now and I respect Indian judiciary, and I always felt that sooner or later I'll come out. But the manner in which the Assam police has targeted me, it is not simple. It must have happened upon the instruction of their political bosses operating from PMO. And I'm still proud of the tweet that I did. You are targeting me like this? This is nothing but a conspiracy. And this has not gone well amongst Dalit masses. This has not gone well among the people of Gujarat. They have been closely following this case. They will have to pay the price for it. और जो दूसरा केस किया, एक महिला को आगे किया, इतना कायर था. सरकार खुद महिला को आगे करके किसी एमएलए के खिलाफ एफआईआर करवाइए. इससे बड़ी कायरता क्या हो सकती है? Such a coward act it is. So both the cases completely false, frivolous, filed against me with malice in mind, with malafide intentions.
Markets have fallen over 2% in 1 month. The core sector growth has also slowed to 4.3%. Sakshi Bajaj with all the details.
India's stock markets have fallen over 2% in 1 month, and the pace of core sector growth has slowed to 4.3% in March versus 6% in February. Investors believe the Russia-Ukraine crisis, now in its third month, intensifies concerns on uncertainty in global trade, rising commodity prices and supply disruptions. Experts also feel the market trend reflects fears of an aggressive Fed rate hike soon, a likely global stagflation, which is a period when high inflation is coupled with high unemployment and slow or negative economic growth.
The earnings season has not been very encouraging. This, along with the rate hikes, the expected rate hikes, which will be as high as about 50 bips, will ensure that the mood on the street is dull. The COVID situation in China, as well as the continued war between Russia and Ukraine, has also been a dampener. Overall, the markets seem to be on the way down.
Investors also feel COVID curbs and rising lockdowns in China could again affect supply chains and therefore lead to disruption for India. Sakshi Bajaj for NDTV.
Well, that's all the time we have. Good night and thanks for watching.